Welcome back to Tampa Bay Right Now. We've been talking about distracted driving, and with us now is Sergeant Steve Gaskins, the Public Affairs Officer for the Florida Highway Patrol, Troop C. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
So tell us, in your line of work, I'm sure you see 100 different things, but how serious is distracted driving right now, maybe texting in general?
Very serious issue. Again, with DUI issues, seatbelt issues, distracted driving is becoming as much of a critical issue as those topics as well. Many drivers are getting out behind the road and having crashes, having near misses because of the distractions they find themselves in the vehicle.
Right, and what solutions would you give for some of these people?
Number one priority to any driver is pay attention to the task at hand, which is to drive. Put down the cell phones, the books, the grooming. Make sure your young children in the back seat of the car, for example, make sure they understand how critical it is for them to behave in the back, so you can focus on the driving.
Right. Well, I have a 7-year-old, and I know a lot of times she's in the back seat and she'll go, "Mommy, Mommy, look. Can you look at me? Can you look?" And you're always like, just a second. But you want to turn around and make sure everything's okay. So, and I've seen before, I know we're talking about solutions, they have like the mirrors that you can actually attach to your other mirror to kind of see your child in the back. What are some other solutions for texting and driving? I know, Randy, we had talked earlier off camera about apps that you can download for your phone. What are some examples of those?
Steve, I'll defer that to you.
There are applications for the newer iPhones that limit and or block completely incoming text messages or cell phone calls. They block outgoing calls, for example. It's a voluntary thing that the owner of the phone would have to engage. I would encourage that. Anything, I will encourage that if it can limit the distractions, again. Because the natural tendency is when the phone goes off, whether it pings, rings, what have you, for a phone call, a text message, the natural tendency is to answer it.
Right.
You want to see what's going on. And if you eliminate that stimulus, then you're going to make sure that you're going to be more non-distracted than otherwise.
Right. I wasn't even aware of these things, that you could download apps, and a friend of mine has one and showed it to me, and you can actually, once you download it, it silences the ring or the buzz, so you don't even know that it's happening, that someone has texted you. And then you can also program or have the response to them, so that person will automatically get a response back that says, "Hey, I'm actually driving right now. I'll get back to you as soon as possible." So I think that's really important. I didn't even know that was out there.
A very good feature. Again, normal tendency is to answer the incoming call, the incoming text, and it's difficult for people not to do that. So if you can eliminate it before it even happens, excellent tool.
Right. What would you say about Florida in general? I know we talked before that it's become illegal, or they have some laws that are going up about texting, about distracted driving. How soon do you think that may be implemented here?
Across the country, 35 other states have already implemented some type of restriction or ban on cell phone and texting use. Florida has not created a law yet. Our lawmakers are still reviewing that. I would defer to them in their wisdom that they will make the laws that they deem appropriate, and we will enforce them as they come to us.
And do you think that, Randy, that would sway people if it did become a law to maybe stay a little more focused?
It's kind of like the seatbelt law. There's certain people that won't wear it, but if it's simply a law, they will.
Right.
And they will comply, and I think that you could draw a parallel there. But, education is so very important. That's probably more important than perhaps passing a law, though that would be good, too. But bring about a public awareness, such as we're doing on this program, is most important, I think.
I know there's a lot of campaigns out there, too, like the video that we had seen earlier, that are really getting the word out, because you don't really realize how people are affected by it until you see the real stories, that people are dying from this. People, in the video we saw earlier, a bicyclist was killed. So maybe you don't even have to be in the car to have it affect you. Is that right?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's not just other motorists. It's pedestrians, bicyclists, and I'm sure Steve can add to that.
Yeah.
Actually, in the Tampa Bay area, we work a lot of pedestrian fidelity as well. And as the technology grows and everyone's got an iPod, iPhone, what have you, just going out for a simple walk. You're walking along the side of the road trying to cross the intersection, for example, and you've got headphones in, you don't hear a car coming, you may miss something. Bicyclists, same thing. So those kind of distractions when people, bicycles, other types of traffic, when they mix, can be deadly.
And what can people like that do to protect themselves, the pedestrians on the street? I know, for instance, like when I go running, I don't wear headphones because I like to be aware of my surroundings. What are some other things that people can do to protect themselves, or maybe even when they're driving, protect themselves from other drivers?
Number one is drop the distractions. I can't make it any more clear than that. You know, if you're in your case where you're running, for example, not wearing the headphones might not be as convenient or what you want to do,
Right.
but for your safety, it's critical that you make sure the distractions are not there, whether it be a cell phone or something else that you have in your possession.
And Randy, I know we had talked earlier about this affecting young teens a lot. Like you said, below the age of 20, that we're seeing that's really a high rate of this distracted driving. So what can parents do to try to educate their children or make them aware? For either one of you, what do you think about that?
Well, I can tell you this. Parents, as you would teach your child any other skill, driving is a learned behavior. The longer that you do it, the more safer you become. You learn to anticipate the moves of the vehicle, the car, the other drivers. Teenagers are very susceptible to motor vehicle crashes. The #1 cause of death in this country, age 15 to 24, is motor vehicle crashes. And when you start adding in things like distractions, like cell phones, it's a deadly mix. So we would encourage parents to make sure that the teenagers are doing what they're supposed to, lead by example, not show them that that you're driving as a parent with the cell phone in the air, and teach people by example in that manner.
Right, Randy, do you have anything to add?
I would agree that you certainly want your children, teens, to have the cell phone with them in case of an emergency.
Sure.
But at the same time, you don't want that cell phone on necessarily when they're driving, or, again, as Steve said earlier, walking along the road with headphones on. Of course, it's illegal to wear headphones while you're driving a motor vehicle. Again, as Steve said, we can't overemphasize to drop those distractions.
Right. So bottom line, cut the distractions, stay focused, because like we said earlier, it's not worth it. If you have to put your phone in your purse and put the purse in the trunk, if that's what it takes, really do whatever you have to stay safe.
That's right.
There's numerous studies out there. For example, there's a recent study that shows just after 2 seconds of some type of distraction, and frequently, again, they're electronic devices, that you actually start having to put steering inputs into the car to recorrect from what you've missed, just in 2 seconds. Average text message is 3 to 5 seconds long to either read, send, or receive, and just a split second
Can
distraction
make all the difference.
can make
Yes.
all this,
So stay focused. Well,
correct.
thank you for being here, and thank you for all the information. Coming up next, I will be talking with Catherine McLeod, who spends many hours on the road each week and has witnessed many distracted driving accidents herself. Don't go away.